Hello friends, welcome to my command center, and this is a live stream. I am beaming right now into your social media live. And in this live stream we will discuss about some of the new events which are happening in the nearby space time. And today we are trying to evaluate what are the different landing mechanisms that the NASA has configured so far in their spacecrafts, because NASA has carried out the highest number of landing missions across the universe on different types of planets, and lately they have been landing a lot of spacecrafts on the surface of Mars. All right, so let's start our discussion today. And by the way, we are live, and you can share your thoughts and comments, any questions live, and I can address that. Well, the most preferred method for landing on the surface of the Mars is the good old parachute. Why? Because Mars has an atmosphere, even though it is quite thin as compared to Earth. Therefore, this has been used in the past for landing many of their probes on the surface of the Mars. And this is a tested, tried mechanism, and we already know the science behind this kind of a device. So once the aircraft enter the atmosphere and the atmosphere becomes thick enough, you can actually deploy this parachute, because by the time the speed will be slowed down. Or maybe you can have multiple parachutes deployed after calculated intervals, and then eventually it will help the spacecraft touch down on the surface of Mars in a very safe method. Because humans back on Earth are also using parachute almost on daily basis for last at least 300 years. So there is a lot of knowledge about using this mechanism. However, there are still drawbacks, because if the size of the spacecraft is slightly bigger, then you need a much bigger parachute, and carrying a much bigger parachute will increase the weight. Also, if the parachute fails, then there is no other way to protect your spacecraft from crashing into the ground and getting destroyed. So I think these are certain drawbacks and points of failure when we use the parachute technology, because the excess weight is the biggest challenge there. So what is the next method that the NASA has perfected and used on the surface of Mars? Because whatever we are using on the surface of Mars or various celestial bodies is basically increasing our knowledge about different landing mechanisms. So the second one is the this inflatable ball system, as you can see here, right here. This was used something like 15-20 years back, when the spacecraft will be engulfed by these crash balloons, who are designed to protect the spacecraft within itself, within its confine, and they will get filled with air as soon as they are deployed, pretty much like the crash system, the crash prevention in our cars. The balloon comes up and protects you and saves your life, something like that. Now this will bounce around a couple of times till the time the complete speed comes to standstill. Then they will deflate, and then the spacecraft can come out from the shell which is in the core of this object, and then start roaming around. Again, this is a good method, but if the spacecraft is slightly bigger, then you need much bigger air balloons to handle this cushioning effect for a larger weight, and this is not scalable. This solution is good, but it is not scalable. It is very good for smaller probes to land on the surface of Mars or any other planet in future. So I think this is the second method, and they have successfully used it also. All right, what is the third mechanism? The third mechanism is the latest one, using a jetpack. So we have seen the humans flying using jetpacks on Earth, and in fact there are now tournaments being conducted. So there are different designs of jetpacks. Some are water driven, some are the jet power driven, and then you can tie them to your body and fly around and compete with each other. So this is also very well tested, tried mechanism back on Earth. And this was used for basically landing the Perseverance, which is the latest probe, as you can see in this picture. So this is also known as the sky crane, because although this is powered by these jetpacks, but then it is also acting like a crane. So it will lower down the probe gently on the surface of the Mars and then fly away. So this is the third mechanism which they have also used for landing probes on the surface of Mars. Now, why we don't use any of these on Earth? Because obviously Earth has a much bigger gravity, and all of these things are very, very technical. And as you can see in this case also, the size of the probe is probably smaller than the size of the sky crane or the jetpacks. So in order to land safely, you need much bigger object, more complex machinery. And when you use more complex machinery, you are actually adding up the chances or the points of failures in your complex machinery, and it's very, very devastating, especially when it is millions of miles away from your home planet. So therefore, I think there is a lot of research going on basically how we can land on any surface, and Mars can be a good experimental ground. How we can land without any of these complexities. We have seen in our movies, the spacecraft will just fly around in hyperspace, comes out from hyperspace, slows down, and gently land on the surface of any planet. And then immediately after the action finishes, it takes off gently and then flies off, zooms at the speed of light. We've all seen that. So why can't we replicate that kind of a system in real life? And that is where the fourth system is being developed by NASA, which is crashing down on the surface of the planet, or so right now surface of the Mars. So this crash based system is designed to basically crash. So none of this complex parachute, the sky crane, or the jetpacks, or even these inflatable balloons will be required if you can simply just crash into the surface and survive. So that is the latest strategy. All you need is when you crash on the surface of the Mars, the crumple zones. So what you have to do is basically lower your shield, which is designed to crumple with your impact. So that crumple zones, as we have seen, the crumple zones are very successfully implemented in our cars back on Earth. In case of a head-on collision of the car, the crumple zone absorbs most of the impact force, and it is designed to just crush itself, and absorbing, and in the process absorbs the force of collision. And this is how you protect the driver back sitting in the cockpit of the car. So similarly, the crumple zone will be like a shield in front of the spacecraft, and then you don't have to deploy parachutes, you don't have to deploy any of these extra devices, you don't have to use any jetpacks. All you need is basically just simply crashing on the surface of the Mars, and a portion of the spacecraft will be designed to sacrifice itself into crumple zones, protecting the machinery and humans and the cargo in the spacecraft. Maybe this kind of a system will be used to ferry cargo, non-perishable stuff, not really humans. But I think this is the fourth mechanism which is being used, low cost, where you can send a bigger payload and then don't worry about adding this extra safety for parachutes and stuff like that, which occupies a lot of space and real estate in your spacecraft. So this way you can actually send more cargo to Mars or any other planet in future if you are able to do so, and this way you will be able to support humans with a lot of other ancillary devices, machineries and stuff like that to be transmitted or sent either in advance before the human flight or even after that. So this is the latest R&D that NASA is trying to do, create a spacecraft which is designed with the inbuilt crumple zones, and basically perform certain maneuvers to slow your speed using the atmosphere in a planet. And then once the speed has come down to substantial tolerable levels, simply crash into the ground facing the crumple zone side towards the ground, and that will basically make you survive the impact, and also you can come out, and whatever the cargo is can be reused without any damage. So friends, this is something which I wanted to bring to you, some new knowledge and new information in the area of science and space. If you have any opinion, please send in your suggestions and questions. Otherwise, I will meet you tomorrow live again, and you have a nice day. Bye bye for today, and catch you tomorrow.